All right, everybody, it looks like it's time to get started. First up, I think we're going to have Carl, and he's going to talk about some of our events. So, everybody, 6-7 for Carl.
Hi, welcome out to everybody. Appreciate everybody showing up tonight. We got a couple of events. Most of you are probably 7-6ers, and this is all redundant stuff, but here we go. Tab. Saturday, June 6th. Put it on your calendar. That's the 7-6 barbecue. Why is this thing so loud? I feel like I got a backhaul.
It is.
Holy cow. And you know, yeah, don't let some lame family reunion get in the way of a good barbecue. You know.
We're planning a cruise.
I'll never hear the end of it, but I didn't do that. I didn't schedule that cruise. Anyway, but I'm glad you guys had fun at Winter Field Day. You know, Wade got the trailer and took it out there for us, and you know, it got back okay and everything, so good. Anyway, Highland Glen Park. Glenn's already got that schedule from 10 till 2. Stan says he swears he'll have the barbecue up there and fixed and ready to go, and we'll have door prizes. We'll have a get on the air station like we always do. I know you talked about doing something different. I don't know, something different with an antenna or something on the go-to station or something. I don't know. Anyway, we always have a good time up there. There's usually about 80 or 100 people up there, and it's potluck, and we'll have a lot of fun. It's rain or shine. There's a pavilion up there, so we'll do it rain or shine. The next thing here, what did I do? I hit the wrong button. Okay. How come it's not moving? There it is. Okay. Also, another date to put on your calendar. I know it's a little far out there, September. I think that's the wrong date. Isn't it September? I don't know.
It's a Saturday.
Is that a Saturday?
That's a Saturday.
Okay. Oh, September 5th. I saw 1 p.m. I thought it was saying September 1. Oh, going, wait a minute. Anyway, September 5th is the ice cream social. We do usually do that at Leatherby's here in Orem. And there's always a good turnout for that. You know, I always get that big monster banana split. Yeah, every year. I got pictures of me every year for the last 15 years. Anyway, so put those on your calendar and come out and join us. Have a lot of fun. That's all I got tonight. Next, Joe.
All right, good evening, everybody. We got just a little 4 months until summer field day. Okay, we're still looking for help. We're looking for another trailer to put another station in. We already got 2 trailers now, and we need about 6 people to haul the go-to station, the what? The communications trailer, and the most important job, porta potties. So if you can volunteer to bring them up and take them back where they need to go, let Doji know. If you can just bring it up, we'll try to work with somebody else. We give people 6 opportunities to help. And then we'll have the potluck about 5 p.m. on Saturday on the 27th, and we got the right dates there. In the planning stages for all the kids, probably that Saturday night, we're going to be streaming a few movies. We're going to put up a big screen with a projector and some speakers and throw up a couple Disney movies or whatever we can find that kids can watch. What's that?
Okay. Radio movie frequency.
We'll have an exam too there.
Oh yeah, there'll be an exam. And speaking of that, thank you, Dave. Starting on the 17th of March for 4 weeks, upstairs from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., we're starting a general class. Okay, go to the Orem City website to sign up. They say there's 50 seats available. Nobody has signed up yet. Need to get at least 5 people to hold a class. When? The 17th. 17th for 4 weeks, on Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Where do you sign up?
Orem City website.
Serving green beer.
What's that?
Serving green beer.
Speak up louder, can't hear you.
Serving green beer.
Serving green beer?
Yeah,
No, I'm Irish enough. Okay, and then we have the ham radio fair on July 16th at Pheasant Brook Park, same one we've had. We've had the ugly antenna contest. So make a working antenna that's uglier than anything, and we'll have voting on it. All right, next is Noji for service.
All right, thanks, Joe, Carl, everybody else. So, on May 9th, Saturday, we are going to have our very first Utah Portable Day. What that means is for 2 hours, we are going to be operating portably all over the state of Utah. And I mean all over Utah. Anybody who wants to can participate. The frequencies will be determined. Most of the frequencies, we actually determined those yesterday. For HF, pretty much they're 3.920. I'm not going to repeat that. On VHF, number one, they're going to be on the ERC repeaters. Those will all be published and put out to you eventually. UHF, their corresponding sets and so forth, who can access them. But anyway, it's just kind of like a mini field day. We're going to be calling out CQ Portable, CQ Utah Portable, and anybody in the country can contact us if they want. We call out, and then people answer. We can just make a contact, and away we go. Ralph.
So it's not going to be simplex?
Well, it is going to be mostly simplex, but repeaters that we're going to be using will be the ERC repeaters. So there'll be some repeaters, but mostly simplex. Obviously, HF is all simplex. And the modes we'll be using will be CW, single sideband, FM for 29 megahertz and above and higher, and digital that's not like FT8 or FT4. Unfortunately, not my rules. But at any rate, so that's what we're going to do. Just set up for 2 hours and just have a blast. And we're hoping that everybody in Utah can participate, because what we're trying to do is contact the whole state at once and get everybody on the air for that short period of time and just see who we can contact. We are trying so hard to get people in the very west or southeast part of the state to contact and get on the air, because they're so remote and so few of them are hams down there that we're, I don't know, we're probably going to, pay Mel over here to drive down there just to make us a contact. And then up in the very northwest corner, same kind of thing. So anyone who wants to could participate. Here in Orem, we have no idea where we're going to be setting up, but hopefully we'll be setting up in 300 different places, even just in this county alone. So there you go. This is sponsored by the Utah Area Emergency Response Communications. Anyway, so that's what I want to say about Utah Portable Day. In conjunction with that we're also going to have, this is kind of a mini field day, right? So we're going to have a mini field day this coming Saturday. This is kind of a dress rehearsal for this day. And so this coming Saturday from 10 to noon, we're going to be setting up at Orem Elementary, which is at 450 West, 400 South in Orem. So Orem Elementary, there's a little field right behind they use for soccer and so forth. We'll be setting up right there. And the school is like begging us to use their field to set up, and so we're going to oblige them. Anyway, so Orem Elementary this coming Saturday. Sorry for the late notice, but 10 to noon, we're just going to get in there and set up as much as we can. Make contacts, whoever can contact us. And that's what it's about. Questions? Question?
Are you doing it all month?
For 2 hours? That's not all month.
All month, every Saturday?
No,
Negative.
1 day, 2 hours.
1 day,
Only one
2
day?
hours. Me.
That question's been being asked, so okay.
Okay, thanks for asking the question.
Only the 1 day.
Anyone else wants to ask that same question? Gary? Yeah. Okay. Do I hear a volunteer? Is that what you said? Gary had a question. Scratching your head? Gets kind of itchy back there. All right. Thanks. Appreciate it. Up next is Sean.
Go get him.
All right. Well, these are our brand new hams for the month and our brand new technicians, etc., etc. We're excited and welcome to our hobby. Anybody here that's a brand new ham? Fantastic. Stand up.
He's got his name up there.
Stand up. Right. Whoop. And your call sign is? You can look at the board.
AM7 EKB.
And your name?
Brian Bradford.
Nice to meet you. Welcome.
I was probably up there last month. I'm Kilo Mike 7, Delta Victor Golf, Ronald Nielsen. I'm my general.
Congratulations.
I missed extra by 3 questions.
Ah,
I'll get it this month.
okay, we'll be ready.
21st.
All right. All right, let's give everybody one more hand. Okay, and this is our upgrade for the month. Okay, any other upgrades that we missed by any chance? No? Okay, let's give them a hand. And introduction.
Yep. So tonight, oh yeah, Mel wants to say something, so come on up, Mel.
I'm sort of a walk-on. I appreciate your letting me take a few minutes of your time. I really appreciate the opportunity to come and visit your club. It's one of the most active clubs in the state, and it's neat that you have such a lot of activities going on. I was going to say, with this neat idea of Noji's of doing a 2-hour portable day, I think Noji might want to consider taking on the responsibility of heading up the Utah QSO party, which has never been done. So there's an opportunity, Noji, if you're interested.
Number one, I'm not interested. But number two, we already have a QSO party in Utah.
7Q
And that's
party.
like 7Q party.
Yeah, but we don't have a Utah one. That's all right, I understand.
Thank you, Mel.
I'm only teasing.
No, he's not.
I don't know if many of you know, but I was recently appointed to the position of the Vice Director for the Rocky Mountain Division. That includes Utah, Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico. And our director is Jeff Ryan in Colorado, and he represents all of you too. In a position like this, we belong to ARL headquarters, and we are the key people that direct and make all the decisions for the headquarters. So if you have any concerns or issues about ARL, I'm a good sounding board to carry that up and say, the guys in Utah are concerned about this, or if you're really happy about something, let me know too. And so it's been a pleasure working with the different directors at the headquarters and learning more about the functions and activities of ARL. It's really neat that ARL does so much to support our frequencies, and there's been a lot of moves to take away frequencies. Right now, there's a very active group in GMRS that wants to take away a good part of our 2-meter band and turn it into GMRS. I don't know if you know that or not, but they're trying to get legislation passed to take over some of our 2-meter band. We don't want to see that happen, and ARL is going to do everything to prevent that. On my other hat that I wear, I'm the president of the Utah VHF Society, and I'd like to thank everybody who came and participated with the Digital Communications Conference last weekend. It was a fun event, and if you didn't go this year, they do it every year. Next year will be the 10th year in a row that they've done it, and it's a really great event where you have an opportunity to learn a lot of interesting stuff above and beyond just digital radio. So if you didn't get to go this year, plan on it next year. It's worth your while, and they do it every year the last weekend of February. We, the Utah VHF Society, are hosting and sponsoring our annual Utah VHF Society swap meet on the 28th of March in Farmington at the same place we've always had it, but you might get confused because the new name of that facility is the Western Sports Park. It used to be the Legacy Events Center. So if you see a sign saying Western Sports Park and you think you're in the wrong area, just keep going to where you went last year, and there will be directions on our website on how to get there. It's a real fun event. We have a lot of people come, and we encourage everybody to come. I do appreciate all of you who have paid your dues. It's your dues that help us support all the repeaters throughout the intertie system. Just so you know, we now have 34 repeaters throughout Utah, Arizona, Nevada, Idaho, and Wyoming. And we have 2 or 3 more that are going to be coming up. There was one that was active in Orem here, and it's been down for a while, and we've now got the repeater working and the controller working properly, and that will probably be active sometime in the next few days or a week, so that will be another area to cover some of the area that the intertie doesn't cover for all of you people down here in the Orem and Utah County area.
Where will it be located?
It's going to be, I think his name is Dan Bishop. It's his house, and it's sort of farther north from here.
It's down here, not really on a mountain.
No, it's in the valley, and it'll provide coverage in some of the areas that are shadowed that can't get Farnsworth Peak and some of the other repeaters that you can listen to. So it'll give better coverage for some of the people in the valley. And I don't know if we've published that yet on our thing. It might be on the website, so you could look that up if you want to. We are really pleased with the membership. Our membership is growing. At the end of this last year, we had 927 members, and we were hoping to hit 1,000 members, but we never made it this last year, but we're hoping to get more new members. I'd like to encourage all you new hams to come out and join us at our swap meet. You're welcome to come, and if you're a new ham, we'll let you in for free, even if you're not a member of the society. All society members do get into the swap meet for free, and we really appreciate the support of all of our members. Does anybody else have any other questions or comments? Yes, the time. The time is really nebulous. We tell people setup begins at 8 and the doors open at 9. We're there at 6:30 and we have people knocking on the door wanting to get in to set up. So we try to keep the doors open to help people come in, but it's an awkward situation because a lot of people come early because they want to, target on the good stuff. And there's a lot of good fine junk there for sale. So if you need to get some fine junk, come out to the swap meet and you'll have a good chance to pick something new or exciting up. Any other questions? I'd say be there about 8 or 8:30. Thank you very much, and I appreciate your time.
All right, and I think Noji has another announcement, so Wade still has to wait.
Sorry, Wade, but I'll be quick. 3 things. Number 1, I always forget to do this, but we are so grateful to Trevor and his work and what he does to. And the second thing is, I'll let Chad take his thunder back. So I want to say, anybody who has a radio that they brought tonight that they want to have programmed, Ralph is over here and he is willing to program your radio free of charge, just tonight only. There you go. And just talk to him and whatever radio you have.
Last chance for
Well, if it's made in this century anyway, right, Ralph? Great. If it's made in this century, you're okay with it?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. Very good. And last but not least, Sean has something else he wanted to say. Take it away, Sean.
I'll just yell from here. I forgot to announce, do we have any new people visiting for the very first time here tonight? Stand up. Let's, okay, the new licensees. I better come up here then. Yeah, I was going to do it from the back. All right, welcome new people. And we'll start here. Your name?
Carl Howley, AY4UR.
Congratulations.
Brad Bradford.
Licensed?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
It's KM7 EKB.
Okay, KM7 something, yeah, okay.
Alan Glenn, KM7 VHF. I'm gonna do this again. Ronald Nielsen, Kilo Mike 7, Delta Victor Golf.
Okay,
I'm Cannon Bakar, Kilo Mike 7, Delta Mike India. Dan Baker, N7 TKW.
all right. Welcome to the meeting the very first time.
All right. I did want to thank Trevor for everything he does. He comes in, he packs in his whole box there full of stuff, gets it set up for us every month, and then he gets it posted out on YouTube. So I think that actually came in handy for you, was it? That was looking for information on the hex beam?
No, it's Jacob.
Oh, it's Jacob. Yeah, Jacob. That's right. And he went back and reviewed that. So, and that was just a week or so ago. So, thanks to Trevor. He does a wonderful job for us. He's one of the members of our board here in the club. And now I want to turn the time over to another member of our board, one of the newest members. We've got Wade. He's going to talk about setting up power in his house. So give a big round of applause to Wade.
Thank you. While I'm plugging this in, I do have some answers for you about the Orem intertie repeater because it actually was online for a while. So it's just getting repaired. I've used it a lot and it's great. When I'm deep in the heart of Orem and when I'm down in Provo, it's a lot harder to get to Farnsworth. And so it's a good one. And it's, if you go to the intertie website, it is on there with its frequency and other details.
You're gonna tell me I have to go look it up?
It is 449.575. 100 megahertz tone. Sorry, 100 hertz tone. And the repeater is still online or on the air. It is just not connected to the intertie at the moment.
Thank you.
You bet. Let's do this. You guys have been waiting too long. Here we go. This is home power system. Okay, I had a goal. I'm big into emergency preparedness. I have been my whole life, and I wanted to be completely off the grid. I wanted to be not dependent on the power. If there was an emergency, I wanted to be able to just keep on trucking. And so I started doing my research to build out that project. First of all, I just went and got some quotes. I needed solar if I was going to do that. I can store power, but I've got to be able to generate power. I looked into a lot of options. I even looked into burying a 5,000 gallon propane tank in my backyard. So I've looked into wood, I've looked into liquid fuel, I've looked into solar. I actually do have a lot of wood. I also believe in diversified portfolios. I have a wood burning stove that can heat my entire house and it even has a cooktop on top of it. So I recommend lots of options. But I also wanted electricity. So I was looking into the best way electricity. A lot of people get generators, and that's an approach a lot of people take. I didn't like the idea of a generator. It's hard to store fuel. You can only store so much of it. There's also danger with storing fuel. Also, when you run out of liquid fuel, it's hard to get more of it if there's an emergency. But that sun just keeps burning. Unfortunately, it doesn't work at night, but there's plenty of sun. So I decided solar was for me. And I'm going to share some things today that may not resonate with you. You might already have solar on your house and disagree with something I say, but this is what I was looking for and what's important to me. So I went and got a whole bunch of quotes, and I have a good size house, and to cover my roof with enough solar to be able to run my entire house. And when I say my entire house, I'm talking about the AC and the dryer too. And those two things take a lot of power. So we're running all my 240 stuff as well. And they came back, and basically to do that, we were talking about a 27 kilowatt hour battery and 10,000 solar, and it was over $50,000. Now, we used to have a federal tax credit. It ended a month and a half ago, but it could have been 35 after the federal tax credit, but you don't get that money back either. You just get that as a credit. And so unless you owed a lot of taxes, you're not going to see that money, although it does go over several years. So you won't see it immediately, but it might take you 5 or more years, depending on how much taxes you owe, to get that back. But it's gone now anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But anyway, I got a whole bunch of quotes, and in the end, here's some things that I learned. So if you're interested in solar and you're interested in power, the first thing I learned is just almost everybody finances these things. And these solar companies are aggressive, and they assume you're going to finance it. And if you tell them that you don't do debt and that you pay cash for everything, they don't even know what to do. They're like, like they seriously stop mid-sentence, and they don't even know how to continue a conversation with you. And but here's what's crazy, is if you're going to finance a solar system, you're not saving any money. You're just transferring your bill from Orem City Power to, I don't know, Blue Raven Solar or Action Solar. You're not saving any money. You're just transferring your bill from one place to the other. And I don't do debt. I was planning on paying for cash for this, and it didn't mean the conversation was completely over, but they're not. But it mostly was, because that's how they make money. The other thing I learned is that Utah, and especially Lehigh where I live, has some of the lowest power costs in the country. Therefore, if your desire to get solar is to save money, it's not really going to help you. So if you want to go green and you're like, I don't care what it costs, I just want to save the planet, go ahead. But if it's money, it's not really going to save you much. If you financed it, it would take about 27 years to pay off my system. And panels only last 25 years or so, and roofs only last 25 years or so. So just as I would have been paying it off, not that I would have financed it, but just if you follow the logic, I would have had to replace it. So like, it just doesn't make much sense. Yeah?
How long do the batteries last?
A couple of decades. The batteries actually do pretty well. Yeah. Yeah. So there really was not a financial benefit. But remember, that wasn't my reason to do this. It wasn't finances. I'm even just willing to spend more. I wanted to be prepared, not save money. So something else I learned, none of these systems work when the power goes out. What? It seriously makes no sense. As soon as I figured this out, as I started doing my homework, and they told me that if the grid goes down, my system's going to shut off, I said, what? Why would I buy one? And they're like, well, because people want to save money and they want to be green. I'm like, okay, that has nothing to do with what I'm looking for. When the grid goes out, I want to have power. And they're like, sorry, there's actually a law that says that the inverters that they build have to respect the grid going down. And the reason is because when the grid goes down and they send the linemen out and they're trying to fix them, they don't want your system pushing power back onto the grid and then electrocute them, right? But there are some companies out there that had built some special inverters that were smart enough to say, hey, grid's down, don't push power back onto it. And there was one company that actually does it. There's one company that has kind of a hacked system. There's an inverter that they sell over in Europe that they were taking that and they were piecing that together and making it work. But one actually official system was Tesla. If you buy the Tesla Powerwall, that can run even when the grid's down. But again, I didn't like the price of it. That's a lot of money, right? I'm like, guys, this is ridiculous. So Tesla could do it. There is a local company named Taurus, if you're familiar with them, and they actually have a similar system. Taurus actually has a really cool product. They store energy in a flywheel. They have this massive stone that you can buy, and it's like this big that sits out the side of your house. It like looks kind of like your air conditioning unit. And they have this flywheel that spins in there, and there's so little friction that it can spin forever and ever. And so they store energy in it. And then it generates the energy as it keeps spinning. It's pretty cool. Anyway, tangent. But when I was doing my research here, they didn't do the off when the grid goes down thing yet, but they were a few months away. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to hold my breath while you guys are a few months away. That could end up being 6 or 12 or whatever. But then I learned that my roof needed to be replaced. And I ended up having a bad batch of shingles when my house was built 15 years ago, and my shingles are defective. And instead of getting the 25 to 30 years out of them, they got to be replaced soon. I'm not going to put solar panels on my roof if I have to take them off in 2 years to re-roof. It just makes no sense. And that's why most people that put solar on their roof, they re-roof right before the solar panels go on. Because then your solar panels and your shingles are in sync. And then next time you got to take them off, you re-roof and put new solar panels back on. So the project was shelved. Someday, I got to save more money. Someday. But 6 months later, some batteries went on sale, a really good sale. And these were big batteries. These are 12 volt, but they're 280 amp hour batteries. They're about this big. They're big and heavy. And I thought, that's a really good deal on some batteries. It's going to be several years before I get the system I want, but I want to be prepared with something. I want to be able to run my radios when the power goes out. I want to be able to charge up some phones and some computers. I want to be able to have some emergency stuff there. So I bought a couple of batteries. And I did research right before I pulled the trigger. And I thought, if I'm going to connect these together, if I'm going to wire them up, 48 volts is definitely the best. But they cost 3 to 4 times as much as 12 volt batteries. And anyway, 12 volts is great for a little system. So I bought 3 of these. And then I was like, wow, I need one more. So I bought a 4th one. And I took those and I built a small backup system. I bought an inverter. It was a 4,000 watt inverter. And I bought a charger so I could recharge the batteries. I bought a whole bunch of battery cables, and I wired them up in parallel, which allowed me to get the full capacity of 4 batteries all running together. And I connected my radios straight to the batteries because all of our radios run off DC. So I was going straight DC to DC into my radios. And basically ever since then, I have not turned on my power supply. And so I get on nets all the time and I hear people talking about running on emergency power. I'm like, always on emergency power. And I think it's pretty cool that I'm just running off my batteries now. And when these batteries needed to be recharged, I plugged them in and it took 3.5 days. Because that's a little charger. That's just a little charger. The max it could do is 20 amps. And to take those 4 batteries, when I run them down to zero and recharge them, it's a lot. But that 40 watt inverter, you can see it's got 4 plugs on there. So it actually has real outlets on it. It also has some USB outlets. So I had a nice little system and I was prepared for an emergency. But hey, I'm now getting used to having some power. I'm like, how cool would it be to be able to just flip the lights on upstairs in the bathroom? That'd be really nice. Or the big thing was I wanted to run my freezer. Well, I could with this run an extension cord over. But I was like, I don't want to have to run an extension cord anymore, if the power goes out. I want it to just keep going. So I went and bought some bus bars. I bought this yellow cord there is what people use for connecting to like a generator and to run that into their house. So I bought one of those, and I bought this thing on the right is a transfer switch. I went in and I installed that next to my main breaker panel, and I moved a whole bunch of the most important circuits, what we call the emergency circuits. I moved them all over to the transfer switch. And then I wired up my batteries into the bus bars, into the inverter. From the inverter, we then, it's not pictured here, but you'll see a photo here in just a moment. From the inverter, I used that yellow cable to go up and connect to a box, and then to go from heavy-duty Romex all the way over to the transfer switch. Excuse me. And then my batteries are now running my freezer and lights and outlets, and it's awesome. But there's a button on that transfer switch where you can toggle back and forth from the grid to the transfer switch, and it didn't work. Oh, let me show you this photo. So that's what it looked like. This is down in my basement. I built a shelf there, put the batteries on there, wired them all together. You can see the bus bars, it's going into it, and then goes up and over. There's another angle. You can see that. I guess that's basically the same, but a little closer. You can see the bus bars there. This is me wiring the batteries up in parallel, and there. So I was prepared for a power outage, and I could run my critical circuits, which are about 40% of our load. So for our entire house, our AC, dryer, everything, the circuits, I don't know if you can read it from there up on the screen, but we've got like the master bathroom, the kitchen, the refrigerator, my sewage ejection pump, a microwave. Our oven is gas, and so it just needs electricity to run the computer on it, but otherwise it doesn't use much. But I could even run my furnace, because the furnace is natural gas. So it just needs electricity to run the blower, right? It works. I was running my furnace off of those 4 batteries. It's awesome. And so all of those things were going. But it wouldn't switch. And I was so frustrated. And we tried to figure out why, or we had to figure out why. And you guys heard me complaining about this. I don't know if you remember a meeting 2 or ago. This was the topic, is the solenoid in there, when you press the button, if you look up there, there's 2 little lights. Do you see that green and that amber light on the face of it? And there's a little toggle underneath it. There's a solenoid in there that switches it, and it requires 240. And I had just built a 12-volt system. I was so frustrated. And it's okay that it was 12 volts, because every one of my emergency circuits were only needed 120. Because I didn't put my dryer on there, I didn't put my AC on there. And why? Because if there's an emergency, those are the last things I need. I can have a clothesline and I can hang out in the basement where it's cool. I don't need a dryer. So I was good with a 12-volt system, but the switch didn't work. And my wife's like, dude, it's just a switch. Like, don't worry about it. I couldn't let it go. I was like, I bought this thing. It has these cool little lights. I want to flip the switch. I want it to work. So I did all of this work, and you can see the thing on the left, that is a step-up transformer. I drove all the way to downtown Salt Lake. I hunted over the internet. I went over, and I finally found one. This company up in Salt Lake had one. And it took 12 volts, or 120, and it converted up to 240. Finally found it. You couldn't believe how heavy that little thing. I bought it. You can see the case is open there. We actually installed it into my case, wired it all up, hit the button, and it goes, and it went 90% of the way. Like, you gotta be kidding me. It's because the step-up only got it to like 230, and it needs a full 240 in order to switch. God, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So took the thing back out, drove back up to Salt Lake and returned to the thing. And can you see there that little yellow stick sticking out of the transfer switch? If you take the panel off, it has a backup way to switch it if for some reason the solenoid fails. And that's what that yellow stick is. It's a manual override. You can stick it in there and do it. So finally, my wife's like, it works with the switch, with the thing, right? She's like, then why are you trying to solve this with the other thing? I was like, I want the button to work. But finally I gave in. I got out a saw and I cut a hole in the face of that, and I super glued the stick into the thing so that I can just and I can switch it whenever I want. Problem was finally solved. But it wasn't. This is the other thing we've talked about in our meetings, is while my radios were running off of my 12-volt system, If I transmitted at 100 watts, especially on 6 meters, it would cut. I would say, CQ, CQ, and the radio would turn off. And boy, it took so much work to debug this. You can see me there with my fluke. I had taken the thing apart and created these, I had taped things down to the cardboard there. And that's my daughter that's holding the connectors. We tested 20 watts, 30 watts, 40 watts. We tested it on every single band. We did all this homework to figure it out. And finally, we were able to confirm that the issue is that I had gone 40 feet from my batteries over to my shack with 10 gauge wire. It's too far. Somebody already knows that it's too far. It doesn't work. And it just was not enough power. It was enough power to run the radio, but not to transmit. And so I had invested money in 40 feet of wire, and I'd wired it up and it didn't work. So I'm frustrated. But 2 months later, a great deal on solar panels came up. So my original plan, as I was thinking I was gonna pay somebody to do it, but some panels came up. I'm still not in a place to panel the entire roof, but I thought, well, I've got these batteries, the system's working, it's great, but if there's an emergency that lasts longer than a couple of days, I'm eventually gonna run my batteries out, and there's no way to recharge them. So what if I had 8 panels, and they were just there in storage, and if there's an emergency, I could haul them out into the yard, and I could use them. That sounds great. I could even throw them up onto the roof so I get a good angle if I want. They're not permanently installed, but I've got them, so I bought them. A truck came that delivered it by freight. They were, really heavy, lots of panels, and put them in the garage. I was ready to go. But then my wife texts me one day, and she's like, "Do you think we could install those on the roof?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." She's like, "I think we really need to." Yeah. So I started looking into putting those on the roof. I was like, well, if we're going to put them on the roof, if I'm going to go to the effort of installing these on the roof and running all the wiring through the attic and down, and I want to put enough on the roof. I don't want to put 8 solar panels on the roof. I want to do the whole thing. So I started looking into it again, and I ended up with a whole home power system. So this is a diagram of what I designed. You can see over on the left, those are the batteries. So I now have double the batteries. I have 8 280 watt batteries. They are now wired 4 series, 2 parallel. And the beauty of that is it gets it up to 48 volts. So I now have 240. So I can now run, I'm not currently at the moment, but I will soon, I'll be able to run my dryer and my air conditioner, everything. Hold up. And you can see I had to upgrade lots of parts. Those are not the same bus bars. You can see I had to add fuses here. You can see there is a different inverter here. Instead of a 4,000 watt inverter, this is a 12,000 watt inverter. This inverter also has 2 MPPT solar charge controllers in it with dual inputs. So this one inverter can handle 40 solar panels, 4 10-panel arrays that I'll put on my roof, and it can handle all of that. You can see across the top there, I have shut-off breakers for solar. So you can see I have 4 lines going out the top. Those will go up to 4 arrays of solar. This all currently is wired over into my manual transfer switch, but once the solar comes, I'm actually going to run everything through the inverter. So right now, I have a 60 amp breaker on my main panel that sends power over to the inverter, and then from the inverter back to the transfer switch. And so those emergency circuits are running through the inverter 24 hours a day. And I can, with 0 interruption. Like sometimes if you have a BMS, or not a BMS, what do they call those? Like under a desk? A UPS, that's what I'm saying. You know, sometimes with the UPS, the switchover isn't seamless, and there might be that hiccup of power if you don't have a good one or something like this. This thing is perfectly seamless. I can switch the power from the grid to my batteries, and nothing hiccups. I don't have to reset the VCR, nothing goes out. It just is seamless, and it's beautiful. And then I have a dedicated fuse and a disconnect switch that takes a dedicated DC line over to my radios. And the disconnect switch is because now that I upgraded to 48 volts, that I can't run my radios off of that. So there's like always a plus and a minus. Because before I had a 12 volt system and I could connect my radios directly to it. But now that I have wired them in series and I now have 48 volts, my radios can't. So I had to buy a step down converter. And step down converters are often, they usually have a decent amount of phantom draw on them. So if I'm not going to be running my radios, like if I'm going out of town for a while or something, I can disconnect that, and it is a full cutoff from that little converter so that they're not drawing my batteries down. I've only turned it off one or twice because I use my radios every single day, but it's there. It wasn't that much money. And then that goes into an Anderson power pole distribution block where I then can plug and play all my radios and get the power that they need. So that's what the design of it looked like as I planned it all out. It required a whole bunch of research to make sure that I had the right gauge, I was addressing the wattages correctly, that I had the right fuses. The first thing I'll tell you is if you're planning on doing something like this, don't be cavalier about it. Don't be casual about planning this. Don't mess around with electricity unless you do your homework. You don't want to burn your house down. You've got to make sure that you have the right equipment, and the number one thing is fuses. A lot of people skip fuses, or they get really cheap fuses. Do not skip on your fuses. Yeah.
Are you up to about 51,000 yet?
On the price?
Yeah.
We're getting there. Okay, so if you're curious, I kind of went through all the components, but here are some of the things that I have. I did a whole bunch of research on inverters. You can buy all the pieces separately if you want. You can buy your inverter and your charge controllers and your battery chargers all separate. There's pros and cons of each. If one breaks and they're separate, it's easy to replace that one. But if you have a system that's all in one, they actually play nicer together, and there's a lot of benefits of that. I decided to go in the all-in-one. Those are my batteries. These are eco-worthy. Eco-worthy, I strongly recommend. They are great batteries, and they are selling for great prices. There's a market right now, especially on Amazon, of a lot of these Chinese, almost all batteries come from China, 99% of them do, but a lot of these no-name brand ones, and eco-worthy is I consider them one of the top end of those batteries. They have a very, very good reputation. And the transfer switch is made by Generac. Generac is not built for battery systems. Their whole market is liquid fuel generators. So if you call them up and ask for help and they find out you're not doing liquid fuel, they're like, they don't even want to talk to you. But it works and it's great. These are the panels. They are not on the roof yet. That's the one piece to this project that isn't finished. Next week we're going to be re-roofing our house. And so I'm hoping another month and a half from now, then we'll finally be done and have the panels up. If you are building a system that is comprised of a bunch of batteries, especially if they are 12-volt batteries, it's good to get a battery balancer. It helps to keep them all at the same level, because as they're recharging and drawing down, they can get out of whack. A really good way to do it too is to just charge them all the way up to 100%, and that will balance them out. But I still think it's worth it. Battery balancers don't cost very much. It's good to get one to put on there. Power pole distribution blocks are awesome. I believe that every radio should have Anderson power pole on it, and I think that it's honestly a bit shameful that the manufacturers are selling radios without Anderson power pole connectors on them in 2026. But there is the little converter as well. It's a 48 volt DC to 13 volt DC 60 amp converter. And honestly, I'm seeing very little noise out of it, which has surprised a lot of people, because not only do they have the phantom draw, but they will often create a lot of RFI. And mine doesn't seem to be creating much, so I seem to have lucked out on that. Let's see, wrapping this thing
Does
up.
that go for your inverter too? Because those ones are really noisy.
My inverter is very noisy. Yes, it is putting out a lot of noise. Two parts to it. It's the inversion and then also the battery charger. Both of those are creating a lot of noise. The inverter's worse, but the battery charger does it as well. And so that is my new project, is trying to mitigate all of that. Yeah. Yes. Over there.
What's it called now? The pure wave sine wave?
So this is pure sine wave. It's still noisy. Yep. So here's some photos of the actual system. This is just right around the corner from that previous photo that I showed you. You can see my furnace there. Just around the corner from where the batteries were on that shelf. This thing has to be mounted against a non-combustible surface. And so that's where you can see that I had to buy the Hardy Backer cement board and put that in there. This thing's mounted to that. It's just to be safe. It has fans that keep it cool and stuff, and so it's mounted there on the Hardy Backer. You can see that I brought the wiring in. It came up through the wall and down and out the bottom there and up into there, and that's the power coming from the batteries. And then it's the other wires going out to the solar panels, or I guess coming in from the solar panels, and the other one coming in from the grid, and then another one going back out over to my transfer switch. And then for solar, this is really just a cursory high-level presentation, but you don't want to just throw them on your roof anywhere. You want to go and get there's a word for it. A sun something report, exposure, I can't remember what they call it. But you can go get there's software that utilizes satellite imagery, and it calculates the, this is my actual roof, and it shows you which slopes of your roof perform better. So you can see on the north side of my roof, which should be obvious, is absolutely the worst place to put panels. These are two different studies that were done, and you can see they're mostly in sync. They're really close. And that tells you the best places to put your panels. And then this is the current plan that I have. That's 40 455 watt panels. And so you can see I've put most of them all on the east side. The south side is the very best. If you have a massive south-facing slope, you are in business. That is the golden place to put solar panels on your roof. But unfortunately, I live right next to some huge trees that are really covering that south. And also that south is really just a little triangle. It's hard to put good panels there. So we're going to put the majority of them on the east side, and then I'm going to put some more over on the south slope that's on the front up there. So that is the plan. All of those panels will then, as I said, be wired in 4 strings, and they will all then come in through the attic down into my basement and go into that inverter. So what changed from that small system that I had to what is running now? I upgraded to 48 volts, and I did that without buying new batteries. You can go from 12 volts to 48 volts just by wiring them differently, but it requires 4 batteries. 12, 12, 12, 12 is how you get 48. I also doubled my battery capacity, as I said. I went from 4 batteries up to 8 batteries. I upgraded the inverter to that 12,000 watt EG4. EG4 is a great company, strong reputation. I very much recommend them. And then I wired the power through the inverter, as I told you, and then I solved my radio problem. I went and bought some more wire, and I now have 6 gauge instead of 10 going directly from my bus bars, 40 feet all the way around. And I wish I didn't have to go so far, although farther distance would be better to get away from that inverter, because it's noisy. It's not noisy. It's what's the word? The RFI. There's a word that it's can't think of it. Anyway, so that is that. The specs, if you care, that thing can put out 12,000 volts continuous AC output. I already told you that there's 2 dual 35 amp MPPTs, dual inputs. That system can do a max grid pass-through of 100 amps. So I can run everything, not super duty equipment. You know, if I wanted to have a shop full of big power equipment, it can't handle it. But everything in a traditional residential home can run through there. My battery together, almost 27,000 watt hours of battery. Once I put those 40 panels up there, it'll be 18,000 watt solar array. And I have run several tests now as I have measured our consumption. And on those emergency circuits, we can run for almost 3 full days just off battery. And that's pretty cool. Now, it's not my whole home. It's just that 40% of our emergency circuits. But boy, that's awesome. Most of the time when the power goes out, it's back on within 3 days. You know? So most of the time it's back on within an hour. But I think it's pretty cool. And so now if I take that, once I get the solar on and I switch over to 100% of my home instead of just 40, I calculate that between that and cloudy days, I will be able to recharge that battery system overnight. And now all 8 of those batteries, I can recharge those in about 3 hours. And so if I used up most of that, I'd be able to recharge it at night. And so we could be off the grid now with that many solar panels and with that battery bank. It's also pretty cool. I can manage all of this from my phone and from my computer anywhere in the world over the internet. I can pull up, I can see the consumption, and I can change settings. It's awesome. And the cost. That's what you were wondering about. So I'm happy to share some numbers with you. The Powerwall, a Tesla Powerwall is currently, and I just checked this a week ago on Tesla's website, it is $9,100, and it holds 13.5 kilowatt hours. My battery bank is twice that. The Powerwall does include the inverter, so we have to keep that in mind, because I'm buying my inverter separately. So 2 Powerwalls is $18,000. My batteries, all 8 of them, my inverter, my transfer switch, my cables, and all my fuses and everything. And I kept a detailed spreadsheet of every single purchase in there. All of that was $7,000. So it is almost a third of the price. If you remember, the quotes that I got were for $51,000. My system will be almost twice the amount of solar. So the system, the quotes that I got was for the same amount of battery size, but it was a 10 kilowatt solar system, and my 40 panels are going to be 18,200. So almost twice the solar. If you put in that $7,000 plus the solar panels, I'm going to install them myself so I don't have to pay for the labor, $13,000. And I have not gone back to those companies and asked them to give me a new quote, but if I just extrapolate it and do some extrapolation math, I'm guessing that if I did an 18,000 watts solar panel array, it would have been about $75,000. And I'm gonna have this whole thing done for $13,000. So I recognize that $13,000 is a lot of money too, but it's a whole lot better than 75. So lessons I learned, almost done here. I already went to it, I got to it early. Do not skimp on the fuses. I bought fuses on Amazon, and then my friend looked at it and he's like, don't you dare put that in. And then I went and showed it to an electrician and to an electrical engineer, and they said, don't you dare put those in. They said, you go spend the money on the fuses, and get the correct, and make sure you've got the correct sizes. You need you want to go from a name brand and make sure it is certified. And then if you are going whole home, yeah.
When you say fuses, do you mean breakers?
No. So in my battery bank, I've got 2 strings of 4 batteries. Those are wired together in series. And then on the positive lead, I go straight into a fuse. And then from there, I go to the bus bar. And on the negative, I go to the bus bar. So each string has a fuse, and then they go to the bus bars. And then from the positive bus, I have another higher voltage fuse. And then the negative coming off the negative bus bar, and then that goes into the inverter. None of that makes the system work. That is just protecting yourself so that if something happens, it does not blow up and you have a problem. And so it's not a cutoff. It's not a switch. It's just the fuses are there to protect yourself.
How many amps are they?
And I think if I remember right, it has been just a little bit since I used to have all this just like right in my head. But the bus bars are 650 amps. The fuses are class T 200 amp, 150 DC voltage are the fuses. The Big Daddy, right before I go into the inverter, is 250 amp fuse. Yeah, awesome questions.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I serviced UPS units for about 14 years.
You did what?
Serviced battery backup systems for 14 years.
Oh, okay.
And we had to go in quarterly to maintain the batteries.
Okay.
Check the connections, make sure that the water levels were correct and everything else. We also had to test the batteries with like a cell quarter to make sure that everything was still working performance. Is any of that been figured into your program?
I have read a lot about checking them regularly, making sure the connections are tight, making sure they're not swelling, checking for heat often, like having a regular routine of going and checking that.
And water for these batteries?
No water. Nope. These are lithium-ion batteries. Yep. So anyway, the 48 volt, it costs more. The prices are coming down always. They're getting better and better. My opinion is if I could undo time, I would have gone 48 volts from the beginning. Instead of wiring 12 volt batteries up into a 48 volt system, I would have bought 48 volt batteries. There's a lot of benefit of doing that, but they do cost more. And this is proof that if that's out of your budget, you can run your entire house for 3 days off 12 volt batteries. Now, I would not buy little 12 volt batteries and wire those up. That is a mistake. If you're gonna get these big batteries in 12 volts, do it. I mean, it's okay, but don't try to run your house off, and you don't want to be wiring up more than 4 of these and getting crazy. It gets really dangerous. So be careful, be smart. But I would go with the 48. One of the awesome things about 48 volt batteries is they are shaped differently. They're designed to be rack mounted. They look like servers in a data center. You can put them in a rack. They also come with Cat 5 Ethernet jacks, and these new inverters now allow you to connect your batteries to the inverter with an Ethernet cable, and they talk to each other. It's called a comms channel. What's that? It's awesome. And so now your inverter can do a much better job at managing the power and estimating your usage and recharging the batteries. They last longer, they perform better because they can talk to each other. So there's just a lot of benefits of going 48 volts. Yep. 2 minutes. Make sure you do your homework on sizing. It's always better to size up your cables, but you don't want to just go way high and size up your fuses either. The fuse has to be exactly the right size, so it's just a little bit more so that it does blow if it's higher. If it's way too high, it's not going to blow. Anyway, these are what the 48 volt batteries look like. You can see that. You can buy them, and they even sell them with the racks now. So, if you're willing to spend $4,000, you can get 4 of them, or, you know, anyway, they're awesome. They all come with Bluetooth. I can walk from inside my house, I can pull up an app on my phone and I can check the levels of them. It's awesome. There's my 8 batteries now, all on the shelves there, all wired up. Those are the new inverters, the new heavier gauge wires. There's the solar disconnect switches up there at the top of it that you can see. There's another angle. There's my battery balancer. If you have a sharp eye, you'll notice that the battery wiring is different now. I used to have the crossing cables. That's because they were wired in parallel. Now they're wired in series, which is just battery to battery to battery like that. You can see the battery balancer, and there's the fuse up above it. There's another angle of my distribution board. The wires go through the wall and then come out underneath and go up into the inverter. There's my radio desk over there in the back corner. There's my desk. If you hear me on the air, that's where I'm sitting unless I'm out at the park doing POTA. And then there's the Anderson power pole distribution block right behind the radios. And then there's a view underneath the desk in the lower right. That is the step-down converter that's taken my 48 volts down to 12 volts. And then it goes up into the distribution block so I can plug all my radios in and run it. And that is it. And I just wanted to say, neither of them are here today, but if word gets back to them or they watch the video, I wanted to offer a huge thank you to KM7BYT and KL7KUY, Jacob and Matthew, who were incredibly helpful with me putting this system together. They made cables for me. They let me borrow crimpers and heat shrink and putting these cables together, putting the connectors on the ends and things. Those 2 gentlemen were very, very helpful playing with the switch, getting that to work. Yes, so anyway, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was helpful. And if you're interested in getting off the grid, I'm happy to share thoughts and help you in any way that I can. I love now that I'm prepared for the power to go out, and I know that I can run my radios around the clock no matter what happens. Yeah.
I was just going to ask when you're going to start your company so we can all take advantage of it.
Hey, I would rather do this all day than my normal job.
I'm thinking when the power goes down, we're all going to Wade's house.
Wade?
Yes.
How difficult was the permitting and inspection process?
This requires no permitting. The solar does, possibly. So, a lot of the systems I talked about at the very beginning, the kind that go down when the grid goes down, most of those systems use an inverter that pushes power back onto the grid. And you can do a share agreement with your power company where they will decrease your bill if you're pushing back onto the grid. And if you get past 0, they'll actually pay you for generating power and pushing onto the grid. I didn't care about that. Again, I'm not really trying to save money here. The inverter I bought actually isn't capable of pushing back onto the grid. There's lots of them out there that are, but the one I bought doesn't do that. If you're going to push back onto the grid, you need a permit and an inspection from the electric company. I don't need that because mine isn't. I called to see, do I need a permit to just put panels on my roof? And Lehigh City says, they said, why don't you draw it up and submit it? Pretty sure you don't. We'll look at it, and if you don't, we won't charge you anything, and we won't. And they're just saying, we want to make sure your roof is structurally adequate. We don't want you putting the weight of the panels on your roof and having it collapse and cause a problem. But besides that, everything I built here doesn't require a permit.
Provo Power, I talked to their October fair that the Provo Power Department has. And I talked to a fellow and he said, we need to replace 600 power poles, we discovered. So there's a possibility of an earthquake, power poles could tip over, it will break.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wade. If you've got any more questions for him, and I think there are some more, you can get with him afterwards. I'm sure he'll talk to you forever on this. Which cable do I swap?
Maybe. You have to hit escape.
Yeah.
So hit escape.
There you go.
Now, go back into it.
It's on now.
Except for I lost the mouse. There we go.
Okay.
Okay, once again, thanks to Wade. He did a great job. All right, Jackson, are you doing? Okay. Who does not have a ticket yet?
And I'm gonna just put mine in.
Okay.
Pick my number. Pick my number.
Yeah, he wants.
Okay, while we wait for that, let's go ahead and talk about this right now. After the meeting, we're going to QSY over to Lucy's Pizza. It's just right over that way. And we'll see you there, and hopefully we'll see you all next month. Once again, a big thanks to Trevor. He does an awesome job. Also, thank you to Orem City, who supports this club, you know, in so many ways. And they let us use their beautiful room and all their equipment, and we really appreciate everything they do for us. We can leave all of the chairs where they were. If you move the ones in the back in the circle, let's put them back in the circle. Make sure we clean up well and make sure everything is nice and tidy to show our appreciation. Everybody's got a ticket? Okay, take it away. We have several things to give away. We've got a Digipie, an antenna, membership to ARRL, a power bank, flashlight,
Nice.
a radio, and a computer, and the J-pole. Okay? So if you win, just come up and pick whichever one you want.
One more.
One more. Oh, yes. The grand prize.
The Canadian keto stuff.
Now, just so it doesn't get missed or misunderstood, this is an original bag of cheesies, Canadian. In case you haven't had these before, they are original with real cheese, real imitation cheese from Canada. Thank you, Alan, for providing this. So you can choose this if you want. Say again?
How old are they? 1965.
They're within one of these 2 centuries.
Hey Jack, what's the numbers?
Just pull one out.
Just say the last 3 numbers.
Yeah, just these 3 right there.
823.
823, all right. Cannon, right?
Picture taken.
Yeah, go over to Node you have and take your picture. Okay, you can call it.
Okay, call another one.
815.
Might have been. It was me. Look at that. Is there anything I actually want?
Jack, I actually put it. I accidentally put mine in there.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Well, I don't
Draw
have
another
an
one.
extra ticket for you.
There's nothing I want.
Next number.
Just draw another one.
Draw another one.
This one can be.
Here, I'll hold it down here for you so it's easy.
868. Oh. 868.
868? Ah, there we go. Gotta pull the next one.
No, I gave you the
817.
Carl!
Is this a hand?
It is. It's a bell thing. Yeah. Yep.
Turn your face this way.
Okay, Carl.
Hey Jack, could you get me an extra ticket? Jack, could you get me a ticket?
I guess, but we're already calling, so.
No.
850.
850. All right, Scott. Okay, go ahead and take the next one. You need another light?
809.
Dang it, that's one away from me.
809. Nope, Jody. Okay, next one.
For the Cheeto, the cheesy. Got the computer. All right.
804.
804. Ah. 804. Cliff. Man, Cliff always wins.
Could you get me a ticket? Okay, I'll get you a ticket.
Okay, we got two more.
He wants me to put a ticket in for him. He accidentally put it in there.
Yeah, he put his in
Is that
there.
okay?
Yeah. Okay, you already called that one.
852.
852. All right. This is the instructions for it. Okay, we got two left. We got the flashlight and the Cheez-Its.
844.
844. All right, Gary.
What are the options?
You got the club light or the cheese snacks.
Why did nobody want the cheesy?
Okay. Your last chance to get the cheese snacks.
Call my number, call my number.
816.
816.
Let somebody else have it.
I never win.
Oh, Mel said he doesn't,
No cheese.
no cheese, one more. Okay, this is the final one.
822.
All right, Jana. All right, thanks for coming out, everybody. Appreciate your support and everything that we do. And we'll see you next month. Make sure we clean up, and if you see Heath on the way out, tell him thank you.